And there is a tension here, isn't it, that we're sort of gleefully reflecting on, which is between progress, modernity, looking forward. The royal family always wants to make sure it's relevant and not offensive in a time of difficult economic moments, versus pageantry and history. And that's the balance that's going to be tried to be struck, I suppose, over the weekend.
Yeah, I think the King and Queen Consort are very mindful of this being a ceremony which has gone back to the 10th century. But at the same time, it has to feel like something you can connect with if you're watching it at home or if you're seeing some of the pageantry going down the Mall. So I think there will be a respectful nod to the past, but you'll see a lot of his own imprimatur in this. So the music that you'll hear, the clothing and the decisions around the clothing, as well as some of the things that he will say in the service, are all designed to make it feel a bit more up to date. I also think as you look at the ceremony and the procession and things of that nature, you're going to see hopefully a lot more of what modern Britain is reflected back in the coronation and in the people representing the crown during the service.
Do you think he'll be nervous? Because it's at one level, he's used to this. He spent his whole life involved in ceremonial things. You know, he has to go around the world doing big ceremonies. There's the funeral that's taken place. And yet, a large proportion of the population are going to be staring at him do something that no one has really done in many, many decades. So it will be difficult. You've got to stand in the right place. You've got to say the right things. You've got to not drop anything. Everything's got to go well. At his level, do you feel he doesn't get nervous? You mean you know him? Or will there be moments where he thinks, God, I hope this goes okay?
I have to say, I agree with you. I'd be terrified if it was me. But bear in mind, for him, he's been doing this kind of thing for more than 50 years. And whenever I watched him preparing, he's all about the detail. He wants to know exactly what's got to be done and when. I never saw him show any sense of nervousness. And I suppose on this occasion, he also has the advantage of the fact that he was there for his mother's coronation. So even now, he's told me that he can remember some of those moments of his mother's coronation when he was just 4 years old, stood between Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and Princess Margaret. So I think he'll be fine.
And how big a moment is this for Camilla? That's become Queen Camilla. I mean, for those of us who remember the news of the last, whatever it is, 20 years, the thought of Queen Camilla being as uncontentious as it is, the fact that it's going to be a key part of the ceremony, there's very little quibbling about it, is itself a remarkable fact. Is this a big moment for her personally, do you think?
I think, obviously, it's a very important moment for her. I mean, there's been a long journey. Everybody has written about this journey that she's been on, but she will be there thinking about supporting the king. This is a service that she'll want to get right. It's not necessarily too much a moment for her to be thinking about what it means for her and her own journey. She'll just be there wanting to make sure she delivers for the service and for the day.
But it might be a reminder perhaps to the younger royals that there were moments in their history, their living history, where people got married for the wrong reasons, where rules were put in place to stop people following their hearts. And it's been a long journey to get Camilla to where she is and that relationship. And that does show that things have changed. You know, I remember when they got married, it had to be at a registry office. Everyone was kind of slightly embarrassed about it. You know, the chances of the young royals marrying who they want to seems to be far more open than it was for Charles, for example. And she kind of stands for that, doesn't she? The journey that's taken her here shows you how far the royal family's had to come.
Look, if I was being honest, I'd say it's more a question of how far society's come, actually. I mean, if we were to still be saying that there should be a queen consort who's treated differently because she's a second wife, what would that say for second wives, second husbands all around the country? They've been married for 17 years. She's been supporting him in his role and doing her own philanthropic work for nearly 2 decades now. And I think the great thing is people have been able to make their own minds up about her based on the work that she's done, rather than the stories that have come from third parties and written about in the papers.
Interesting. Harry's going to be there as well. Presumably, that's going to be a positive as well. There's lots of stuff around that, but the fact that both his sons will be there will be a moment in itself.
Yeah, I think that he will, I'm sure, be absolutely delighted that he has got both his sons there looking on, supporting him in what is undoubtedly the most important day of his life. So yeah, I think he'll be thrilled.
And what are you going to do, Julian? What are you doing for the coronation?
Well, I'm very delighted to say I shall be there, so I will be able to see the Lord Great Chamberlain discharging his duties, and I'll probably be on the very back row. But yeah, I'll be delighted to be in attendance. Well,